Money to fund it? Maybe it's a way to basically repeal it. Congressman Phil Gingrey of Georgia certainly hopes so. He's a Republican. He joins us right now on Your World. Congressman, we just talked about the chances that in a couple of months this fight will come back up. What are Republicans doing to stop it?
Well, we're going to fight this very hard, and of course we're very pleased that this 3-month extension is what we're looking at, rather than what Harry Reid wanted to do last week with the 8,000 in fact earmarks and plussing up that spending to well over $1 trillion in the discretionary part of the spending. So this is a lot better, and it gives us an opportunity to come back in March and cut back even further, because this continuing resolution of 2010 spending is some 16% over what was spent on discretionary in 2008, and we pledged to the American people that we would roll back this spending to pre-bailout, pre-stimulus 2008 levels, and that's what we intend to do.
Even Democratic Senator Max Baucus agrees that this is going to make it harder to implement it. Here's what he said, Congressman. Clearly, the fewer resources devoted to any program, the harder it is to implement it. Now, that said, I'm sure you saw the report from Pete Stark, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, called Dangerous to America's Health, the Republican plan to dismantle America's health care. The Democrats are coming right after Republicans and basically saying you're trying to block people with pre-existing conditions from getting medical care, and you're in the pockets of the insurance companies. That's effectively what this report says. How do you combat that?
Well, he can say what he wants to all day long. The fact of the matter is, when they enacted this legislation, particularly the section that requires every individual, whether they want to or not, to purchase health insurance, and not only to purchase it, but the one that the government prescribes and says it's adequate, is outright non-constitutional, unconstitutional, a violation of the Commerce Clause. Just as Judge Hudson said in the Eastern District of Virginia, they're going to have to face the reality that this is a Ponzi scheme. They came up with a bill that works only if they can have this unconstitutional provision included. Now, we will repeal that bill and come back and have high-risk pools in each and every state, and we will truly bring down the cost of health insurance for every American, and we'll do it in a constitutional way.
Well listen, the constitutional fight is not over. It's clearly going to go to the Supreme Court. 2 other judges have found that it is okay, so we'll wait and see what the Supreme Court does. They will clearly take up this case. Constitutionality aside, though, the Democrats have 2 things, right? They're going to say that, number one, you're trying to stop children who have a pre-existing condition from getting medical care. They're going to play to the emotions. And then they're going to say the president's plan reduces the deficit, and therefore the Republicans are trying to make the deficit bigger by effectively repealing health care. Fight those 2 counterpoints.
Well, I'll cite one and say that the Congressional Budget Office under Doug Elmendorf absolutely came up with the most ridiculous, convoluted calculation in regard to how this only costs $1 trillion. And it only costs $1 trillion by cutting Medicare some $520 billion, in fact $130 billion out of Medicare Advantage, and adding another $550 billion worth of taxes, and yet they say, whoop-de-doo, we're holding it to a cost of $1 trillion. Every policy that's come out since then, including mini-med that the fast food industry provides for their low-wage employees, that they couldn't survive, and so they had to get a waiver. So this whole deal was a tremendous mistake. It was misguided priorities. When we had 10% unemployment and 16 million people out of work across this country, we should have been working on the economy 2 years ago. Not cap and trade, not health care, and the president paid the price on November the 2nd.
Congressman Phil Gingrey of Georgia, thank you very much. We got to get the other side. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.